knowledge is alim. Alim. Right? And what do you call somebody who graduates from a university if you don't call him a what? Somebody graduates, he's a alumni. From what word? Oops. Oops. Now you know. And they still wear the long black robe. And it's not Latin, it's Arabic. Alumni, from alim. And the long black robe. Where did it come from? And go to Turkey right now and watch the imams. When they're going to lead Salat, they go in their little cubby hole and get their little cap and put it on. Then he gets his black robe, and he's wearing the same one they're wearing today in universities. Because they're copying the way of the scholars of Islam 1,000 years ago. If you want to talk to me about testable evidence, we'll talk all day long, as far back as you want to go. Sir, do you know anything about algebra? Of course I do. Good. What does it mean? Well, it's the science of using a number that's represented, it's an unknown number represented by a letter. Who thought it up? I don't know. Algebra. It's Arabic. It came from the Muslim scientists. What about the numbering system? Isn't it called the Arabic numbering system? And who thought it up? Who came up with a zero? The Muslim scientists right here in India. Only they called it Arabic because they didn't want to call them Muslims. So they said anybody became Arabicized. They didn't want to say they became Muslim. And how do you account for the fact that every single one of these evidences here is irrefutable and there's no mistakes in this book? How? Go ahead. Show me. I brought something that's testable evidence. It even tells me that people like you who don't want to believe, whether I warn you or warn you not, la yu'minun. You're not going to believe because Allah has placed a seal on your heart. He placed a seal on your hearing. He placed a seal over your seeing, another seal. Who did that? Your Creator, because you don't want to know Him. And until you want to know Him, you're not going to know Him because He doesn't need you. Professor doesn't have anything else to say. He's already thinking, I'm going to get this kid out of my class. That's it. Finish. Just sit down. Oh, sir, one more thing. I just have one last question, and I'm going to go sit down. Good. What's your question? Sir, you told us to you that testable evidence is something that you can see. That's right. Something you can hear. That's right. Something that you can smell or taste. Something you could feel. Something you could imagine. That's right. So all of these things, sir, are testable evidence to you. That's right. Sir, can I ask you one final question? Just one. Go ahead. Sir, has anybody ever seen your brain? Has anybody ever heard your brain? Has anybody ever smelled your brain, tasted your brain, felt your brain, or imagined your brain? No? Well then, sir, according to your testable evidence, you don't have a brain.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh, for sharing this knowledge with us. Alhamdulillah, I do not want to deprive you of Q&A even though it's too late. I urge all of you to stick to the topics so that it will be all connected and then we can go forward, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
I'm Satyendra. Sir, you are converted from Christianity into Islam. Please explain this in detail. Is it a spiritual transformation or is it testable evidences?
It takes about an hour and 40 minutes. I don't know if you really want that one right now. But I'll tell you where you can get it. Bismillah, alhamdulillah. First of all, I want to tell you something. Thank you for taking your time to be with us and share. And please, I'm from Texas. And we have an attitude in Texas. We don't really mean anything by it, but it's kind of like a pushy attitude. So when I do stuff, I hope you'll understand it's just a bad habit that I have. And I want to really greet you in the right way and treat you in a good way, okay? And you have good questions. And certainly, I have myself, when I was very much younger, had some of the same thoughts that you've had. How could there be a life after this life when you don't see anything? And how could there be a God when I don't see any God? So, what's the evidence? And this is really what it keeps coming back to. What can I prove? But there are people that no matter how much you try to prove to them, they're not going to accept it. They say, I'm a seeker of truth. How many people here have you met somebody said, I'm a seeker of truth? We all have. But when you bring them the truth and they go, but I don't want to accept that, then why? So many of the people who claim to be scientists and following scientific testable evidences, when we show them real proof with testable evidence, when it doesn't go with what they already want to believe, they refuse to accept it. I recall just a couple years ago, in one of the scientific journals that I picked up in one of the airports, there was an article talking about the scientists had come across some study under a microscope in a laboratory to realize that there was a particular life form that actually had been here in the same form since forever and a day, but it never evolved. It is still exactly like it always was, and they don't have any precursor for it. It just showed up one day on the earth, and therefore they decided this broke their idea of evolution. And they came up with something, and they called it, this is a design, and it has intelligent pattern behind it, ID, intelligent design. When they came up with this, and a number of other professors began to agree with it, there was one particular professor in Colorado whom they quoted in their journal. When he heard what they had said, that there was some intelligent design, without examining their evidence, without considering to read the material, their thesis that they had produced, he totally debunked it with his statement. He said, this is a bunch of bull, and he used a word that we use in Texas all the time. That was his answer. And he was one of the top professors in his field in Colorado. But when it didn't agree with what he already wanted to believe, he doesn't even need to read it. He doesn't need to study it. He just knows already it doesn't work. Is he a seeker of truth, yes or no? Is he? I don't think so. Because a seeker of truth is willing to look at all evidence. In fact, it is not a logical person who takes testable evidence and sets it aside for his own preconceived notions. Sir, I'm going to guess that you've been exposed to religions that have a lot of mistakes in them, that you can prove those religions are wrong. And I'm going to agree with you. In fact, I'm going to agree with you in that I'm going to say there isn't any God anywhere in this universe. There is only the God that created the universe, and he's not in it. Then I'm going to agree with you if you said there's no religion that is correct. I'm going to say you are right. No man-made religion can be correct because we're not God. But, sir, if there's a religion, it has to come from God. And this book tells me, Inna Dina Inda Lahil Islam, which means in Arabic to English more or less, that Allah, the creator and sustainer of the universe, is not going to accept any of the man-made religions. He's going to only accept the way of life which he has asked us to follow. It's a choice for us to accept or reject. It's as simple as that. Now, as regards the idea of testable evidence, I gave you a little scenario there. But I have one, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters here today. I want to share this with you, not that I'm trying to teach you anything, but rather something that you can use for the children, because I'm very worried about our children. And I'd like for them to know that we have evidence that's testable. And I use this when I go into the schools, elementary schools, and visit with them. And I want you to think about what I'm going to say. And remember, I'm directing this to a child's mind, not a big scholar, just a little child. I tell them there's a story I want to share with you.